Meet Ron, an American who moved to Thailand. He loves sharing his adventures and experiences on his YouTube channel and other platforms. American Thai Guy. Ron talks about Thai culture, delicious food, and what daily life is like in Thailand. Ron's journey is inspiring and informative for those interested in Thai culture or thinking about moving abroad. So, please welcome Ron.So, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
That's great. Well, thank you for coming to the show though. Actually, I've been watching your videos on YouTube for a while, and I can say that your videos are super entertaining.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the compliment. I try my best.
I just laugh all the time, seriously. So you just do everything by yourself?
Yeah, everything from writing to the performance, the shooting it.all of that excuse me.
That's fine.
Excuse me. Yeah, everything from writing it to shooting it to performing it, editing videos, uploading, answering, replying to comments, sharing, all that stuff. I do pretty much everything.
Wow.
Yeah, no, wait, not pretty much, but everything.
Everything, basically.
Yes.
Nice. Anyway, before we talk about this, could you start by telling us a little bit about your background and what brought you to Thailand?
Yes, I initially was introduced to Thailand because a friend invited me on holiday. And I didn't know where Thailand was in the world.And when he invited me, I was like, well, what's there? And he was like, well, I can't explain. You just have to see it for yourself. And I came on my first holiday, and I was quite, impressed about many things. And I knew I wanted to come back. So when I was in the States, I was working online. Well, I was working online for many years. I still do. But I was working online initially doing advertising and marketing.When I left school and I was doing advertising and marketing. And then once I came over here, then I just loved it. And a friend of mine, not only did he ask me to come here, but then he wanted me to go several times. And I wanted to come back because I love the food. I love just the weather. Everything was great when I first came here. So.That was the way I got introduced to Thailand, and just from that first holiday and the first couple of times I came here, and it made me want to keep coming back.
When was that then? When was the first time you got here?
That was back in 2001, 2002.
Wow.
Was when my first holiday here, and the first extended time period that I stayed here was back in 2003. So shortly after.My first couple of trips here, I was like, okay, this is where I want to live.
So it's been like 20 years. Nice.
Yes.
And what do you like about Thailand apart from food?
Apart from food. Oh, well, I mean, of course, like I said, the weather is great. Initially, I fell in love with just the way that people were welcoming, and they were very kind, always had a smile.Initially, when I first came here, it was obviously because I thought the women were beautiful, you know what I mean? And that was, of course, the thing that was an attractive thing about coming here. I was still, relatively young. I was 26, 25, 27 when I first started coming here. So I was still young, and, that was an exciting aspect of the visiting here, going to different places that were mostly...meant for like partying and hanging out and stuff like that. That was the initial introduction that I got to Thailand.
Because I believe that a lot of people, a lot of tourists, when they think of Thailand, they might think of like parties,
right?
Full moon parties,
right?
Food, or like walking streets,
yes.
or special dances and stuff like that.
This is kind of the thing that gets shared the most, I think.Previously, well, or at least early in the content that I've seen, or that is seen, or gets the most views, is stuff about the partying and the places like that. And again, that is a part of it, but it's a very small aspect of what Thai Thailand is about. But people see that a lot, and they gain their perspective about Thailand from a lot of that content that gets shared online. The most shocking things are the things that are gonna get the views and the most, you know what I mean,
True.
the most engagement. So obviously that's an interesting thing for people, and sometimes it's attractive. But that's a certain lifestyle that people enjoy too. Some people enjoy, but it's an individual thing.
So, which part of the United States did you come from?
I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, and raised in Tallahassee, which is the capital city of Florida. And I went to Florida A&M University when I went to college. My father was the first black mayor of the capital city of Florida, so he was in politics when I was in college and in late high school. So it wasn't when I was with my father, it was a little bit more a more comfortable existence, where sometimes I would stay with my grandmother in Jacksonville, where she was somewhat poor. So I got the opportunity and the experience of seeing both growing up in a poor household and also in a household that was somewhat middle class. And I got the opportunities to get a good education, and that's basically what allowed me to be able to leave school early and work on my own. I had a little online business that I ran for myself as soon as I left college. So that was really where my independence started, and how I was able to eventually move to Thailand, because all of my work was online, of course. So that allowed me that freedom. But my background and where I grew up was in the south of the United States. So
That's interesting, because you said you came here when you were about 20, 21, 22?
20s, wait a minute, 2003, that's 21 years ago. I'm 49 now. Yeah, 27 when I first started coming here.
I mean, that was quite like extreme, if you ask me, because when I was about your age, I wouldn't think about leaving my country and live somewhere else. But the fact that you decided to leave the States and then move to Thailand, that's like, wow, okay.
Well, again, my life in the States between the time that I left college and the time that I came to Thailand was somewhat unusual as well, because working online was also not just, it was at the beginning of when the internet was kind of just getting started. That was in 2000, where there wasn't Google wasn't even a thing then, you know what I'm saying? There wasn't even a Facebook at that time. But I did advertising and marketing for the things that sold, and that was mostly, adult content and stuff. So, and it was, that industry is somewhat interesting as well. You know what I mean? It's, I didn't really get into the production side of it, but but just being a part of that was an interesting sort of experience. But it made me even more independent. I was already independent from the time that I was a kid, because I was kind of the smart one in our family, I guess, and because I ended up getting a full scholarship. I had a full scholarship to college.
Wow.
So I was kind of the smart kid between me and my brother, because I have one brother and one stepbrother and a half sister. But I was only raised with my brother and my stepbrother. But I was the one that was supposed to be. I was the nerd, basically. You know what I'm saying? I was the nerdy one who got who did well in school and got the scholarship to college. So I was already expected to reach some form of success based upon my ability when I was a child. So once I went to college and got the experience of life in college, I lived on campus, and my parents didn't help me at all when it came to money and the things that I needed. I had to find those things on my own. If I didn't have enough money from the funds that they gave me for college, then I had to get a job. I worked like 9 different jobs before during the time that I was in college. Everything from working at the mall. I sold vacuum cleaners. So it was, again, my life was already somewhat, wild a little bit when I was, before I even came to Thailand. Because once I left college, I moved from Tallahassee to live down in Miami. Lived there for a while working for another company that was, that had, adult websites and stuff like that. And I was doing traffic management for them. Then I left there and moved back to Jacksonville to stay with my brother and my cousin. Then I moved to Chicago during the worst blizzard they'd had in over 30 years. And then I moved to Las Vegas, where I met someone and I had my first son. And my son now is already 24 years old. My oldest son is 24 years old. And then once I left Las Vegas, I came back to Florida. And at that time was when I had ended that relationship with my child's mother. And then my friend was like, oh, don't be depressed or whatever. Let's go to Thailand and have a holiday. And that's what started my journey in this country. And it was like a stage, because I believe we all go through stages in our lives where, I had from the time that I was a child to college, from college to this point where I had spent some time living independently, running my own business, and it was time for me to experience something outside of what I had experienced in the United States. And when I went to see that, it was so refreshing. And the sights, the sounds, the smells, and the people. And I was like, wow, this is different than I have ever seen or experienced. So I want more of it. So I ended up, like I said, as soon as I went there, the first couple of holidays, I was like, okay, I want to, spend more time here. But every time I went back to the U.S., the only thing I was doing was waiting for the next time I got to go back to Thailand. And I was like, what am I doing? I know what I want. Obviously, that's where I need to be.
Interesting, because I watch a lot of videos on TikTok or something, and then they have something called Bangkok Blue or something. So it's like when people leave Thailand,
yes,
they will feel so sad.
It's the Thailand Blues, basically. They call it that, whether it be Bangkok Blues or Thailand Blues, because just doesn't matter whether it's Bangkok or anywhere you are. Once you get to that point, you've reached the end of your holiday and it's time to go home, you start feeling really sad because you know that you have to leave this place that has given you so much joy, right? So then you go back and you're just like, oh man, when do I get to come back? So you just plan that next holiday and you just count it down. You just count down the days to when it's time for you to get back on your plane to go to Thailand. So it's kind of like, okay, if that's the case, I work online, so why wouldn't I just live where I want to live and not be, going back and forth and feeling bad about, and having to wait? No, I'll just see what it's like to live there. So the issue was this, though. I'm going to tell you what happened to me, and this is the reason why I started to learn how to speak Thai. I believe it was the second or the third time I came here. We didn't have mobile devices that could really work when you go overseas then, right? And my friend had done most of the planning for the holidays, but I flew separately from him. When I arrived there, he wasn't there to pick me up or anything like that, and I didn't know how to contact him. I tried to contact him by email and all this kind of stuff. For whatever reason, I couldn't get in touch with him for 2 days, and I couldn't find my hotel. I got lost in Bangkok, and I constantly tried to find my hotel by talking to Thai people in English, and they could not understand what I was trying to say because I didn't know how to pronounce it in the way that Thai people understood it. And I once I got lost for 2 days because I had a little bit of a negative experience, during that time because whenever you go to a touristy location, they can tend to like try to get money out of you. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is at any tourist place, no matter what country you could do. And I ended up spending a lot more than I thought I should have, trying to sustain myself until I found my friend again for 2 days. And it was only because I could not communicate in Thai that this happened to me. As soon as I ended up meeting up with him again, and I was like, dude, I want to live here, but there's no way I'm living in this country and without being able to communicate with people. So as soon as I come here, I'm learning how to speak Thai. And that next trip was the first long trip where I stayed for, I believe I stayed for 6 months that next time. And I spent 3 months with a Thai tutor. I think she was Chinese Thai, and she was in college, and I hired this girl. She advertised her services, and I was like, look, I just need to learn how to speak Thai. And I lived near Anusawari Chai, Victory Monument, and I used to go to the office where she would teach me 3 days a week. If I recall correctly, it was like an hour or something, hour and a half every time that I went. And she taught me the basics of Thai. And then I just went out and talked to Thai people to get the things that I needed. I would go to markets, to little vendors, and speak like horrible Thai. And I know it had to be bad, at the beginning. But I struggled through it because it was so important to me to be able to speak. And then I, continued to try to, to learn this way. That's how I learned how to speak Thai, mostly from immersion. I did go to some schools a little bit later, but they were never as effective as just talking to Thai people.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be like that, right? If you want to be fluent, like at Thai and stuff like that. Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
Huh. So, what was the biggest shock or surprise when you first arrived?
The red light district. To be honest, because now that I know about Thailand and Thai culture, that itself is a very a contrast to what real Thai culture is about. And it's in knowing how Thai culture is. If you compare it, it's like, wow, that even exists is like surprising. But that's there because that's something that people want to do, and that it doesn't bother people, doesn't bother anybody, it doesn't cause anybody any harm. So they're free to do that. You know what I mean? That's a lifestyle that they choose to lead. But it is a shocking thing knowing that Thai culture is very conservative in comparison to what you might see on Walking Street, in some of these bars and things like this. It was, again, that was a kind of a shocking thing for me. But outside of that, there was very few black people here. And I don't know if that's shocking, but I just thought, like, I'm from America, where there is a mix of everyone from everywhere. It's a melting pot, very much a melting pot, where you'll see Asian people, you'll see people from Europe, you'll see people from South America, and it's a mixture. Where in Thailand, where in the tourist areas you might see that, but outside of that, it's pretty much mostly just Thai people or people that are of that sort of Asian culture. And that's something that's a major contrast, a stark contrast from what you might see in the U.S.
Yeah, that's true. A few weeks ago, I went to the shopping center in Chiang Mai, and then I saw a family, and I was like, that's interesting. Like, what are they doing here? Like you said, it's very rare to see them in, places like this, not in Bangkok.
Yes, well, any place that there is a lot of tourism, it's not unusual to see people from around the world because people, especially now, because people have heard about what kind of place Thailand is, and how welcoming it is, and how so there are so many interesting and lovely aspects of life in this country that people want to experience. So it's not strange that all people from all aspects of places in the world will come here. But you have to realize that was 20 years ago for me. And during that, it's a little bit different than the way that it is now. It was even less. So there were people, coming to the tourist areas, but it was even less. It was more rare to see that kind of, mixture of different kinds of people in a place like this. So to me, again, it was a contrast in that, now you have to sort of adapt to the way that things are here because of that too. This is it's very obvious that this is not some place or a culture that you have grown up in, and you kind of have to learn to assimilate if you want to live a peaceful existence. But that's what I have learned over the years, because initially it was all about coming and just having fun and experiencing the things that I thought would, what I thought were most exciting at the times at the age where I was. But what I have learned from that experience and from many experiences thereafter, I have learned that I just want to have a peaceful existence. Whereas years ago that wasn't really my goal. It was just like, okay, I don't know, let's see what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Well, I guess now it's still, let's see what's going to happen. But I mean, because you never know what life is going to bring. But still, my primary goal is to live a peaceful existence.
So, why did you decide that you wouldn't go back to the States?
It really wasn't a decision. I didn't have a choice, really. It was more that I had gotten to a point where I had lost everything. Originally I had an online business and stuff, and I started a business in Thailand, and that during the financial crash back in 2009, that went downhill, and I lost my online company, and so I had nothing, and I had to find a way to survive, basically. I couldn't go back to the U.S. because I didn't have a home there. I didn't feel comfortable going to stay with my stepmother at the time, because my mother passed away many years ago, and my father isn't like the kind of guy that you would go and hey, can I stay with your dad? No, it's nothing like that. So I had to rebuild my life from nothing. So, and I was able to do that here because of the kindness of Thai people and their empathy and their understanding, especially, and their acceptance, especially because of my ability to speak Thai. And I think that not only was it because I didn't have a choice but to stay here, but even if I could go back, I wouldn't, because I was comfortable, being around Thai people and Thai culture, the way that people address one another, the way that they always tend to want to have a peaceful life and try their best to ensure that everybody in their community is, at least taken care of or has a peaceful life. You know what I mean? If you don't have food to eat, I never had a problem even when I had no money. There was always some Thai person that I knew that was like, hey, come and, you can always come and eat. So I never wanted for anything like that. I also was fortunate to meet my mentor, he's an attorney. He's the head of a law firm in Pattaya. His full name is Sonchai Chiu Chan. But I call him Pimu. And he basically took me under his wing when I was during that really rough time in my life, and gave me plenty of advice, and I would always be able to go and talk to him. He gave me a place to stay. There was times I couldn't pay rent, and he didn't kick me out. There was times I needed a job. He found a way to make sure that I had a job legally in this country, because that's not easy. So again, it was that I was fortunate to meet people who saw my value before even I saw my value. They saw my value. So I ended up working as a I ended up serving as a translator, for a court translator at his law firm. And also I kind of handled public relations, because I was really good with, by that time, I was already really good with, translating from English to Thai. So this is how, why I stayed in Thailand. One, because I didn't have a choice but to stay, but also because I preferred life in this country. So, and that's why I'm still here to this day. I'll be here as long as Thai people allow me to stay here.
I see. So, you've been living here for more than 20 years now, right? So how has Thai culture influenced your lifestyle and the way that you view the world?
One of the things that I came with was an experience in the U.S. of a insidious sort of racism that's always sort of there, where you as a black person, you are going to run into issues where your life will be affected by the fact that you are black in a negative way. Okay. And I came to Thailand not knowing what it was like here, and I felt comfortable not having that sort of feeling where there would be an issue or the possibility of being mistreated because of being black. The only time that I had an issue was when I thought Thai people would say, because at the point it was a point that I had gotten to where I could understand Thai language very easily, and of course I could speak it relatively well. But everywhere I went, not everyone knew that I could understand how to speak Thai, right? Or that I could understand when people spoke Thai. So sometimes I would overhear things, and a few times I heard where there were Thai people who were referring to me, and they said that I was naklua. And in the U.S., it sort of felt like that same thing where, a white person might walk to the other side of the street if they see me coming, because they think that I'm a criminal or that I'm a bad person because I'm black, right? So it felt that way. And this is what caused me to make a video to asking Thai people about this issue. Now, this is when it comes to the question you asked about my perspective, I felt like that this may be an issue here as well, where there may be some racism somehow. But that was not the case. Because Thai culture is so deep and nuanced and complex in comparison to Western culture, you can't take that perspective and bring it here with you and think sort of the same things, or assume some of the same things, or they mean the same things. So when I did that video, I did a video asking Thai people, when it went viral on Facebook back in 2018. And that was like the first time that I even thought about doing anything when it comes to like producing content for social media, and that was just a one-off. I didn't expect that to go viral. I was just upset. I was bothered because I heard it again, and I was like, what why are they think that I'm scary? You know what I mean?
So you just like wanted to find the answer.
Yes, I just wanted an answer. And that first video where I got, thousands of comments from Thai people and stuff, and then, I did another video about, colorism and stuff, or racism later. But my perspective evolved about this topic because I came to understand that for Thai people, it isn't even about your skin color or your nationality, your religion, nothing like that. They just want you to be a good person. That's it. That's all they expect. And it took me a while for me to kind of understand that, where it isn't about racism. There isn't a thing where they look at, a black person or anybody, from any aspect of their physical, the way they present themselves physically, and think that, okay, this person is bad or something like that. They don't do that. Generally, you know what I mean? It's something that in their culture, they're raised to give people an opportunity to show what kind of person they are. And as long as you're kind, you're empathetic, you're someone who's trying to be a positive influence in the community, they have no problem with you being here. They want you to be here. Hey, you're welcome. As long as you respect them, you respect the culture, you become a part of that, they have no problems with you being here. And they enjoy your company if you are that kind of person. Only people they don't like are bad people. If you're a bad person, doesn't matter what color you are.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They don't want you around. Those are the kind of people they don't like. And I think that's something that you don't have in the U.S., where there is going to be an issue where people will look at you a certain way because you're from a certain background, a certain race, a certain, whatever. And then you feel that when you go places and and again, here I feel like a human being, that's all. And that's all that matters.
And especially if you can speak Thai.
Oh yeah.
People will be like, oh, พูดภาษาไทยเก่งจังเลย
Yes. I don't, that's one thing a lot of foreigners don't understand is the fact that if you can speak Thai language and you speak it well, you speak it politely, Thai people don't even look at you as you're a foreigner anymore. They look at you as Thai. They treat me like I'm Thai when they hear me speak Thai. You know what I mean? They might, if it's a foreigner who they just met, they'll start speaking English, and they'll speak English to them, and they'll talk a certain way. But it's not the same sort of communication that they have when they speak Thai. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
There's a different, there's a more nuanced way of expressing yourself when you're able to speak Thai. And I think what I like to compare it to, I like to say that Thai is sort of three-dimensional, where English is two-dimensional. Because even when expressing your feelings, there's so many things so many ways that you can talk about and describe your feelings, where in English it's relatively small. And a lot of things that, even I'm sure you as a Thai person who knows how to speak English, when you try to express certain feelings in English, it's somewhat difficult in comparison to the way that you are able to do it in Thai. Like, for example, เกรงใจ. I don't know there's no word in English that fully encompasses what this word can mean, right?
Yeah, I've been trying to translate that word as well. And then, how about I feel bad? And I feel bad, it's not like the same as
Right,
saying
it's not like you really feel bad, you just feel
เกรงใจ
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just, there's certain things and expressions and emotions that you can't really, you can't explain what you mean in English. And I think that, again, if a foreigner wants to come to this country and wants to get the full experience and a complete understanding of Thai people and Thai culture, you have to incorporate the language into that. Because no matter what, if you don't know how to speak Thai or understand Thai, you're missing something.
I do agree.
There's just something you're missing.
Yeah, because for me, I believe that culture and language, they kind of go well together. If you want to understand Thai people, you probably need to understand the Thai language to a point.
Yes, I agree. And then, again, because Thai culture and the way that Thai people socialize and the way they deal with one another when it comes to familial relationships, whether it be work relationships or friend relationships, they're very complex. There's multiple levels to it. And I think it took me these 20 years to understand that and also to kind of find where I fit into that. You know, when I meet people, I know where I fit into our relationship and how I should address a certain person. Whereas if you're first coming here, you it's just we're all on the same page kind of thing. Sorry about this. Sort of all on the same page kind of thing as if you're speaking English, especially. So again, like I said, it's really important. It's an important aspect of assimilation and understanding Thai people and Thai culture, and also appreciating what there is to offer. That Thai language is a very big part of that.
My husband said the other day, I'm more Thai than you. Are you now like more Thai than your partner?
I don't think there's any way that I could ever be more Thai, because another thing, like, you also have to realize my language ability is really restricted to mostly Central Thai, where there are so many dialects that people speak in this country. And it is very common for people to be multilingual. That's not the case in the U.S. Most people only speak English. It's the only language they understand, only language they normally are exposed to. That's why sometimes you hear issues of, people having problems in the U.S. about, where they might hear somebody else speaking another language and stuff, and it makes them uncomfortable and stuff, because but it's normal to be bilingual here. Thai people normally can speak Central Thai and the dialect that they from their, whatever province they may be from, and some of them can speak English. So they're already, before they even leave high school, they're already trilingual, which is, to you, is normal. You grew up in this. But for somebody from where I'm from, that is amazing. It's amazing that you guys can speak 3 languages before you can go anywhere, right? So I think where it's impossible for me to be more Thai than a Thai person. That ain't never going to happen. But I appreciate what, the ability of Thai people to not only speak a lot of languages, but also to be able to deal with people from so many different walks of life, when they come here. Even create relationships. You have a relationship with someone who's a foreigner as well. My wife has a relationship with someone who's a foreigner, with me, right? And they're open to that. So these are things that I find very, impressive about, Thai people and Thai culture.
Nice. And this leads to my next question, actually, that I am really interested in, which is your content on social media platforms. So did you start from YouTube first?
The first video I did was that video that went viral on Facebook about, asking about, what Thai people thought. And then after that, when people, started to follow me a bit, I was like, maybe I should start doing some, videos and stuff. And I didn't know what I could really do. So I started I remember I started doing like food videos where I was going to go to review food at restaurants and stuff like
review
that.
Thai food.
Yes, but because so many people that follow me were Thai, I did my videos in Thai language. And I don't know, I didn't feel like being like everyone else. You know what I mean? And obviously, it's going to be somewhat difficult for a foreigner to build a following. At least it has been for me, for whatever reason, to build a following of Thai people who are, a big following of people who are not only supportive but also, share your content and follow you all the time. So I needed to find something that I felt was unique that a lot of Thai people might watch. And one thing I noticed is that Thai people appreciate when foreigners can speak Thai, right? And I hadn't seen any show where two foreigners were speaking Thai language. Seen plenty of shows where there are two Thai people speaking English, right? There's, full TV channels where Thai people speak English, right? So I was thinking, maybe I could, just do a video where, I talk to someone who's a foreigner, and we'll speak Thai together and see how that goes. And the first video I did was with a guy named Julian. You might know him as Tang Mu. That was the first podcast episode that I did with him, and I was just in the room in next to my balcony, and I set up my camera, my phone, and did a live on YouTube, right? And then from that point, I continued to invite other people that I either knew in myself or they had were doing videos or content online and stuff, and they were doing it in Thai language. So I invited them to come talk to me. So I did that for a while, and it was fun in that it gave me experience, of course, being a host of a show, presenting myself and also presenting my guests. But I changed into another form of content because for two reasons. One, while Thai people, or at least my audience, felt it was, somewhat interesting, that, maybe even a novelty, sometimes you wouldn't get people watching the whole show. And then, of course, that means that will affect whether the video even makes enough revenue. And I remember I did a little funny video about how little money I was making on YouTube. I don't know if you saw that on one of my...
Not yet, not that
okay,
one.
I had one video where I joked about, and I showed how little I made in the 4 years that I had done YouTube. It was like $400 or something like that. And I joked that I was going to go and call Han. Oh. It was a funny video, but that got a lot of views. People thought that was funny, and they were saying, okay, if you caught Han, my God,ได้มากกว่าการทำ YouTube. But anyway, I continued to do that. I did like 40 episodes of that, but then I switched over into doing videos about Black American history, because Thai people were like, we don't know anything about Black people or Black Americans. What could you do some videos about this? So I was like, okay, I did a few of those, and some of those got some good views, but it still wasn't something I had fun doing them, because I always try to make it in a way that's interesting for people to watch. And I love acting because I've been acting professionally since 2013. That's another thing that we might want to get into. But anyway, so I started acting. So I used my acting skills in the videos that I produce, including the ones where I was teaching about Black American history, right? So then, that was cool and everything. But then I decided I wanted to start making little short videos to give tips about speaking Thai language.
I love those videos. They're so funny.
Those are the videos that ended up sort of making my following on Instagram sort of blow up a bit. And I've been doing that. This journey of doing the videos about, tips about Thai language just started matter of fact, it's going to be a year on the 22nd of this month. So not even a year. But I went from like 6,000 followers on Instagram to like today I have 94,000 followers from the videos that I've made about this. And I have fun with those because I like doing comedy in Thai. So, and I write my own scripts and stuff, my little, whatever. But initially it wasn't even meant to be funny. I just wanted to kind of feature Thai words and phrases that foreigners might hear and that they might be able to use when they're learning to speak Thai. A lot of stuff that you might not learn in a school, things that Thai people say, between one another, and isn't necessarily something that's a formal, way of speaking. So I continue to do that, and those are the most fun for me. I like playing the vendor character. They call it แม่ค้า เจ๊ is the character that everybody loves. And I tend to, in all my characters, of course I try to make sure each character is distinct and maybe funny in their own way, but I also have sort of a gender fluidity that happens with the characters, because it sort of makes you kind of understand also that you can be whatever you want in Thailand and nobody's going to judge you, and you can have fun with it and entertain however you wish, and it's just a means of creating my own art that not only have foreigners shown that they appreciate, but a lot of Thai people follow me for doing this. I don't do my videos with Thai subtitles or anything. It was never meant for Thai people to watch my videos. I did them for foreigners to watch, but there's a lot of appreciation, and I love that Thai people follow what I do, and they're like extremely impressed by my ability to speak this language, especially in ways that you really don't, learn in a school. It's all from, colloquial use and like from actually talking to Thai people, because that's where I learned it all. All the funny stuff that you might see I do, it's probably some experience I've had or something that I've seen that Thai people have done that I thought was, funny or, I thought was interesting. So that's what I'm doing right now when it comes to producing content for Instagram and the various platforms on which I publish. But I want to do more of more than just that. Because as I mentioned earlier, I've been acting professionally. I started acting professionally as one of the ways to survive in Thailand back in 2013. I got a job, my first TV commercial, performing for Vitamilk.
Okay.
Because a lot of productions that end up being published in Africa are produced here. So commercials, a lot of producers will come and produce a commercial in Thailand. They'll hire actors that black people from various countries, a lot of African countries, a lot of half Thai kids that are half black will go to these auditions and stuff. And I've gotten jobs where I've acted in some of these commercials here in Thailand. I believe I did 2 Vitamilk commercials. I was a feature in 2 Vitamilk commercials. I did commercials for Safeguard. I did a commercial for Bond. I did a commercial for Texas Chicken.
Nice.
Also for Ishitan is another one. That was the one that got the most views, but that was a fun video. Yeah, so there's a playlist on my YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
If you want to look at some of the commercials that I've done. But I've also done some movies and stuff. So I minored in theater when I was in college. I majored in public relations, minored in theater. So I love acting. And this gives me, because I'm not getting acting work, especially because I'm in Chiang Mai, you can only really get acting work in Thailand if you're in Bangkok. So after I left to move up here to stay with my wife and her family, I don't have any more acting, no one's asking me to come to do casting or to get to work in any acting jobs. So, but I still enjoy acting, so I just do it myself. I make my own production, you know what I mean? I again, like I said, I write my own scripts, I produce it, and then I get that feedback based upon my performance on my own social media platforms. I don't have to wait for some movie to come out or nothing like that. I just produce it and have fun with it here. And hopefully every single video is like an audition or a showcase to let people know about my ability to perform. If I get opportunities later because of that, great. If I don't, no problem.
That's a good use of social media platforms.
Yes.
I really enjoy watching your videos. They're really funny. I didn't know that you learn acting as
Yes, that's the reason why a lot of people are like, "Oh, you could be an actor." That's like one of the comments I get from people like, "Oh, wow, you should go be an actor." I said, "Yeah."
Yeah, I should.
Yeah, again, like I said, I've done some movies and stuff like that. And it's a great job. But it's also one of those things where I get to be someone else and make other people believe that I'm that person. And that's another thing that I noticed about Thai people is that some of them have a difficulty separating the actor from the characters that I play. Where sometimes they'll be like, on something completely unrelated to, the videos that I've done. They'll be like, yeah, they'll be calling me this, right? And then, or they'll be calling me some other thing that I've done when it's just, those are just different characters that I play. And, but I'm glad that they feel that way because obviously I've done a good job. If I make you believe I'm the person that I am performing, then obviously I'm doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's great when people do that for me, and I'll continue to do that. I've been on a sort of a break recently. I haven't dropped a video recently, but I sometimes do that. I go through waves of creativity, where I'll do 4 or 5, 6 videos in a row with it over a month or something like that, and then I'll stop for a month or something like that. But I'm not under any pressure because the reason I'm able to do the things that I do at the level that I do them is because I'm in an environment that allows me to be who I really am. My wife treats me wonderfully. I could never have dreamed to have met someone that would become a part of my life and allow me to be able to do this. And I'm very fortunate in that way. So I think I'm glad that people appreciate the things that I do, and hopefully I'll, be able to continue to do those things for as long as possible.
So, apart from doing more acting on your social media platforms, what are some of your future plans?
Well, honestly, right now, I just want to get better at what I do. So I continue to study Thai to this day. I also hope that me and my wife will be able to travel more because that's really our thing that we do together outside of just living our lives together and enjoying each other's company, and is being able to go to new places and experience them in person. Technology has allowed us to be able to do a lot of things without even having to necessarily go there, but I think that personal experience that we have together is always enjoyable. So that's definitely something I want to do more, is travel. Outside of that, I also want, it would be nice to get the opportunity to perform in bigger productions, movies, TV series, things of this nature. But I also understand that the industry is evolving at the moment. So and also another thing is that the industry is also very, in a way, it's very difficult to get a place in in that industry where you are consistently getting roles to play. And especially when the fact that you need, not only a history of performing, but also you need connections in order to get, you know what I mean? You need to have connections in order for people to cast you in certain things, or even give you the opportunity to be cast in certain things. Maybe it's just not my time for certain roles, but that's my ultimate goal, is being able to do that job professionally, do that, that perform this art professionally. And I, as far as anything else, I would say that I'm really already happy and in a really good place right now. I don't see how that could get that much better. You know what I mean? Again, like I said, I've evolved into a person who is just satisfied with living a peaceful existence and being around the people who care about me and I care about them, and trying to be a positive addition to the community in which I live. So that's all I really plan on doing, is just continuing to try my best to contribute in a positive way to the community here in Thailand.
ทั้งนี้ทั้งนั้นพวกเราก็รอให้พี่ขวัญทำเป็น acting ในช่องดีกว่านะคะ
ครับได้
ชอบมากเลย
ครับ
ค่ะขอบคุณมากๆเลยนะคะ
ครับ
ที่มา
ขอบคุณมาก
วันนี้สนุกมากๆนี่เราเพิ่งจะได้มีโอกาสพูดภาษาไทยกันตอนนี้นะคะ
ได้ไม่เป็นไรก็ จริงๆแล้วพี่ชอบพูดภาษาไทยมากกว่าภาษาอังกฤษ
No way
ทุกวันนี้มันรู้สึกมันสนุกกว่าพูดคุยกันเป็นภาษาอังกฤษ มันเหมือนกับว่ามีโอกาสที่จะแบบเล่นมุก มีโอกาสที่จะแบบบรรยายความรู้สึกให้ลึกซึ้งมากกว่าการสนทนาเป็นภาษาอังกฤษนะครับแต่ก็เข้าใจอยู่คนไทยส่วนใหญ่ที่ได้เจอ เมื่อเขาพูดภาษาอังกฤษเป็นเขาอยากมีโอกาสได้ฝึกกับเจ้าของภาษาซึ่งเราก็โอเคเราก็ยอมที่จะคุยเป็นภาษาอังกฤษก็ได้แล้วแต่โดยปกติหากภาษาไทยของพี่มันดีกว่าภาษาอังกฤษของพวกเขาเราก็จะคุยกันเป็นภาษาไทยนะโดยปกตินะก็นั่นแหละก็คือแล้วแต่สถานการณ์จะชอบภาษาไทยมากกว่า
บอกแล้วว่าพี่ขวัญนี่มีความเป็นไทยมากกว่าครูหวานอีกนะเนี่ย จริงๆโอเคค่ะนักเรียนค่ะก็เดี๋ยวยังไงนะคะครูหวานจะทิ้งเป็นช่องทางทุกช่องทางของพี่ขวัญเนี่ยไว้ในช่องตรงนี้ข้างล่างเลยตรงขึ้นหน้าจอตรงนี้เลยไปกดติดตามรับรองเลยว่าสนุกแน่ๆเพราะว่าครูดูเมื่อไหร่นะคือกลับออกไปคืออารมณ์ดีทุกครั้งอ่ะเพราะว่าคอนเทนต์สนุกแล้วก็ได้ความรู้ด้วยแล้วก็เราจะได้เห็นแง่มุมต่างๆหลากหลายอย่างของพี่ขวัญด้วยนะคะวันนี้ขอบคุณมากๆนะคะขอบคุณมากเลยขอบคุณทุกคนที่ดูพอดแคสต์วันนี้ด้วยแล้วก็ในอนาคตต่อไปนะคะถ้าอยากให้ครูหวานเนี่ยเชิญแขกคนไหนมาอีกก็บอกได้เลยค่ะมีของมาให้พี่ขวัญด้วยค่ะเป็นกระเป๋าแล้วก็เป็นแก้วเป็นครูหวานพอดแคสต์
ขอบคุณมากครับกำลังชมแก้วพอดี แก้วสวยมากเลยชอบ
แล้วถ้ายังไงเราเจอกันใหม่ครั้งหน้านะคะไปแล้วค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ